Hey, how's it going, guys? I'm Paradoxic, and welcome back to Marvel's WandaVision. This has been by far, I think it's easy to say, this has been the craziest journey that Marvel has taken us on, that Disney has taken us on. It's been a crazy 8 to 9 weeks, and it's honestly flown by. And I think, yeah, like it's insane to think about how much we've gone through, how they've explored the story, and like just like how much of Wonder and Vision they have given us compared to what they've done with the movies. And easy to say that again, this series has given me so much more investment and interest in them than the movies honestly ever did, and I'm perfectly happy to say that because it shows just how well the whole Disney Plus kind of series formula that Marvel now has for newer characters and certain characters actually works, and it gives me a lot more faith for the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which is coming up next. So yeah, it's been crazy, but this is the finale. This is it. The episode is literally called the series finale. So I think because of the fact that this is meant to lead into Doctor Strange 2, this was meant to be like a one-off. Like this was just meant to be one series to explore Wanda and Vision and Wanda's powers, and then that in turn affects Doctor Strange 2, which then in turn affects the Spider-Man 3 movie. So it's like the craziest kind of like connected trilogy in the MCU. WandaVision to Doctor Strange to Spider-Man 3, the craziest kind of trilogy you can get. So yeah, but I can't believe it's already here, and I think it's that kind of difference where you have such a much smaller number of episodes, like not just a smaller number, but it's also like all these episodes, like none of these episodes have been filler. There has not been a single piece of filler content in this series. Like there have been scenes which kind of help to elevate the characters individually, be they kind of emotional or comedic or something else, but in terms of filler, we've had nothing like that. Every episode has served its own individual purpose, and it has actually led to amping up the next one and actually continuing the story in an engaging and well-written way. So props to literally everyone involved in this. But yeah, it's amazing. It's crazy to think about, what the show has given us, how far we've come, and also just like how much more like engagement and content we've gotten from these two characters compared to the movies, like I said. So it's crazy, and I can't believe that we have to say goodbye to this show because it's been amazing to watch. It's easily been one of my favorite pieces of content from the MCU. I didn't really think, because like given how this was marketed and given how they described it as being like a really trippy kind of mind warping kind of ride of a TV show, I didn't really think I'd get that into this. I think I was pretty sure I'd spend 90% of my time being confused and wondering what was going on, and that would take away from it. But like it has been, but that's made me want to think more about this and made me actually want to make more sense of this as a story. So it actually works. It works. So I can't wait to see how they end things. I can't wait to see how this whole story concludes and what it means for Wanda and Vision, and how Wanda then connects into Doctor Strange 2 as well. So that will be a fun journey. But yeah, it's a series finale. Last episode 8 was easily one of the best we've had. Easily like one of, if not the best. It was the most emotionally driven and most emotionally charged episodes of this series. And wow, just, Emmys to Catherine Hahn, Emmys to Elizabeth Olsen. Like, those two gave performances, outside of anything we've seen from the previous episodes, or even Wanda's performance in the kind of, like, in the larger MCU. So it's been crazy to kind of see all of that stuff be explored. And we did some exploration. We did some, we did a lot of exploring. Agatha sent Wanda on a very, very trippy kind of trip down memory lane, her traumas specifically, like we met her family, like her family life in Sokovia. We met her parents and young Pietro, and we saw how they died with the Stark missile and everything. We saw her being experimented on with the Mind Stone by Hydra, and we saw how she actually saw like her future in the light of the Mind Stone, like the silhouette of the Scarlet Witch and everything. So we saw that, and then I think that kind of also led into the concept of her being a mutant, like her having latent abilities in her already, which the Mind Stone then kind of amplified and awakened later on down the line. So that was cool. We had Vision and Wanda in, like, I think that it would be like pre-Civil War, post-Age of Ultron, like once she actually moved in with the Avengers, moved into the upstate New York base, and she was just chilling out and watching Malcolm in the Middle, and then Vision came along, and like Vision gave one of the most emotionally engaging speeches I've ever seen him give. Like, he came up with that line, what is grief if not love persevering? And it's hit everyone in a multitude of ways, but it's impacted a lot of people, and a lot of those people it's impacted in different ways. So, there are different people have different ideas on what that line is and what it should mean, but I think overall it like despite it being a simple line, it is also a very, very hard hitting line, because I think it doesn't. I think with dialogue like that, I think too many people expect it to be something mind blowing and something like completely original, something that's never been said before. But sometimes I think what that scene shows is that sometimes the simplest stuff just works because it's what you can relate to, and for a lot of people, like especially people in the audience, after what we've been through, it's a line that a lot of people can indeed relate to, and it's a line that kind of hits them hard and makes them think and stuff like that. And it came from Vision. It came from a fucking AI. Like, it came from a robot essentially. So it shows how far Vision has come to. Like, Vision in that moment alone, he is actually trying to relate, like to actually think about what Wanda's going through, and he even specifies that he can't relate because he's never been in any kind of position where he has people to lose. He has kind of loved ones. He's never been like that. So but he has been with he was created and raised by Tony. He's been with the Avengers. He's watched things happen all over the world, and he's like in that time. I think now being paired up with the Mind Stone too, being paired up with like an actual celestial kind of like somewhat kind of like a living energy source. He has that like a somewhat like relative kind of concept and understanding of what life and emotions are. So I think maybe that's where that came from. But either way, it was a supremely well written episode and an amazingly well written scene, so props to the writers for that. But yeah, like the last episode just really took us as audience members down Wanda's life and showed us what she's been through, and the girl has been through so much. She's been through so much, and even showed us a bit more of somewhat close to the present day. It showed us that Hayward is nothing but a liar. He's a manipulative liar. He told Monica and the fellow sword agents that that Wanda broke into the sword facility and stole Vision's body. But no, we saw she, started off walking up to the reception of the sword facility and even told them that, she knows she knows Vision's body was there, and literally all she wanted was to throw him a funeral and to be able to say goodbye. That's all she wanted. And then Hayward takes her directly and shows her his team of engineers and scientists that are dismantling Vision's body. And then she, after having an emotional moment with his corpse, she left. She never took his body. Like, Hayward literally still has Vision's raw body, and we'll get to what he did with it in a minute. But, Wanda never took his body. Instead, she drove straight to Westview. And the reason she went to Westview and actually found a house there is very, very specific and even more traumatizing. She and Vision had a property deed. Vision had bought a house. He had purchased the property in his and Wanda's name, and labeled it in a little heart, to grow old in. He knew that Wanda wanted that kind of future. She wanted him. She wanted a family. She wanted a nice suburban life. So he made sure that she could have that by buying her property. And then Thanos came along and fucked everything up. So she still had the property deed. She still had that kind of one last shred of memory with him. So then in that moment, in her grief, her powers took over and she manifested a giant house. And then kind of, her being a wielder of chaos magic, she literally extended that kind of illusion of a house. And then, I think the house is still fake, but she's holding that together. And then her magic actually expanded and created a giant hex all over Westview. And then I think that was unintentional. She was actually, just ended up controlling everyone else inside of Westview and all the other houses and everything, and then changed the time period and all that stuff. So I think it was a great way to go back in time through her life, but then also actually kind of like do like a little bit of recollection into what actually happened leading up to like the very first episode of WandaVision 2. So yeah, like I said, crazy damn journey. But we had all of that stuff, and yes, and Wanda has officially been dubbed as a Scarlet Witch. Agatha, we saw her history too. She was a witch who was a part of a coven, but she ended up being caught using magic and resources outside of her station, outside of her kind of actual qualified like level of magic, and she ended up they tried to execute her, like her own coven tried to execute her, but she drained them all and killed them all and took their power and everything. So she is definitely a very, very she's a villain. She's the antagonist of this series, as stated, and Catherine Hahn does such a great job of being an antagonist that you can't help but love. But you know, she dubbed she dubbed Wanda as a wielder of chaos magic, and also dubbed her as the Scarlet Witch. She literally said, you know, that makes you the Scarlet Witch. So there's, I think that goes to that there is like an official name for that kind of wielder, like for a wielder of that kind of magic, and it shows that, you know, she also described her as a being capable of spontaneous creation, which she is. She spontaneously created the hex and modified everything within Westview and stopped anything else from being able to get in for too long. So, yeah, it's a crazy journey. So now, going forward, we will see exactly how Wanda and Vision team up, and Hayward has rebuilt the original. He's rebuilt the original Vision, and he has turned him white. He is now White Vision with a new eye and like a new kind of like a microchip of some kind in like where the Mind Stone was, and Hayward still had the drone that they sent in that was drenched in Wanda's chaos magic, so they used that to power Vision up because it was still kind of originated from the Mind Stone energy and stuff. So they have a White Vision. So what that White Vision is going to do, I don't know. I think knowing Hayward, the most logical thing for him to do would be him trying to use Vision to neutralize Wanda, like using Vision against Wanda. But then I think knowing that we have the fake Vision that Wanda created inside of Westview, I am very highly anticipating a Vision versus Vision fight scene that is just gonna blow everything else out of the water. But yeah, I think that's gonna happen, and then maybe even, you know, Monica now, like, you know, superpowered Monica and Wanda versus Agatha, perhaps. Yeah. So I don't know. And then at the very end of the episode, someone's gonna need to, you know, take down Hayward like 2 or 3 or 4 or maybe even 10 notches and stuff, and just, you know, show him who's really the boss around here. But yeah, I don't know. I do not know what their plan is on that end, but it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be crazy. So yeah, I still can't believe we're actually going into the series finale, but you know what? All good journeys, all good stories must come to an end. And to be honest, it's not even the end. It's the end of WandaVision, but it's not the end of Wanda. Or, I mean, Vision, it's debatable whether it's the end of him, but it's not the end of Wanda. Wanda will be joining us again later on down the line in Doctor Strange into the multiverse of madness, or into the multiverse. But yeah, it's gonna be it's crazy to think about how far we've come with these characters and with the story, and just how much time has flown by with this show too. Like even on a weekly release, it's just flown by really quickly. So I think that's also one of the benefits of having the weekly release. Like people still keep talking about it, like people still keep remembering it, and you know, it definitely builds up the hype. So yeah, that is pretty much all I have. That is all I can remember from the last one. So on to the series finale of WandaVision, episode 9. As always, this will be the highlight reel of reaction, so if you guys want to catch the full unedited reaction to this episode, that one will be over on Patreon, so you can check that out over there. But yeah, that is it. So on to Marvel's WandaVision, Season 1, Episode 9. Let's go.
What do you say?
What does she say? Oh, yeah, she loves her cars. Yeah, Wanda loves levitating cars and throwing those at people. Yeah. Oh, are they Wizard of Ozing us? The witch's shoes under the house? Are they Wizard of Ozing us?
And I was told you were powerful.
Oh! Vision versus Vision! He really said, get your hands off my wife. He really said, get your hands off my wife.
This is our home.
Then let's fight for it.
Let's fight for it, yep. Oh, Vision versus Vision. Oh, this is gonna be good. And Agatha versus Wanda. Oh, they are gonna fight. They are gonna fight. Oh.
You must be destroyed. I know that.
Oh, no, you're not gonna fall for that one twice. He's not gonna fall for that one twice.
Did you know there's an entire chapter devoted to you in the Darkhold?
The Darkhold from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. The Book of the Damned. The Darkhold from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Oh.
The Scarlet Witch is not born.
The Darkhold.
I don't cast spells. No one taught me magic.
Your power exceeds that of the Sorcerer Supreme.
She's stronger than Doctor Strange. She really is the most powerful Avenger.
The world.
Thanks to Ralph Boner. Oh, Ralph. Oh, Thingy, Agnes' husband. Ralph.
Agnes doesn't.
Ralph Boner. That's who he is. He's not. He's not even the real Quicksilver.
Boner.
How
is she controlling?
So he's literally just another face inside of Westview. He's not even the real Quicksilver.
Please, spare my life.
Nice to meet you, Ralph.
Ralph. Jesus. Ralph Boner. Oh, she's taking down the Hex. Is she taking down the Hex? She's taking down the Hex. Oh. Leave. No more Westview residents. No more residents.
We're going in.
No, you are staying your human ass outside. You are staying outside. Oh. Oh, that's so cool. Oh, his is all pale blue. Oh no, Vision's a part of the Hex. Vision's a part of the Hex. If she takes down the Hex, then Vision dies.
You tied your family to this twisted world, and now one can't exist without the other.
Oh no, even her kids are going?
Save Westview or save your family.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh yeah, it's like the Incredibles. It's like the Incredibles.
Your mother and I never really prepared you for this.
Yeah, that's a very fair point.
We're born for it.
Oh, Vision versus Vision, Agatha and Wanda. Are we gonna get Billy and Tommy versus Sword? Are we gonna get the kids versus Sword?
Handle the military.
Yeah, boys versus the Sword Agents, yeah.
I'll be right back.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, boys versus the Sword Agency, yeah. I'm gonna enjoy watching Hayward get his ass whooped by like two 10-year-olds. I'm gonna enjoy that so much. I'm gonna enjoy that. Oh, yeah. Are you really shooting two kids? Are you really about to shoot two kids? Oh. Oh. He can stop bullets. He can stop bullets. What now?
Nice tricks. I like yours too.
Yeah. No, he is not getting out of this that easily. No, he is not escaping this that easily. No way. Darcy!
Perhaps the rot is the memories, the wear and tear of the voyages, the wood touched by Theseus himself. I have not retained memories.
Oh, okay. He's gonna touch himself. Yep, Age of Ultron, the Avengers, yep. Infinity War, Civil War, all the wars. Yep. All those memories. Oh, now it's nice and golden. Now it's nice and golden. Yeah. Oh, it was. Yeah.
I am Vision.
Yes, you are. Yeah. So what, you can't even make Vision fight himself, not even for a full episode. He just becomes another version of himself.
Release your
Oh. She's handing over more of her power.
I want it all.
That's it, Wanda, she wants power. Don't give it all to her. Oh? What? Huh? The magic's not working? No. Whoa, oh, she's casting her own runes! She's casting her own runes! She's learning! She's learning! And only the witch who cast the runes can do the magic.
Runes.
Yeah, she's picking up. She's
In a
picking up.
given space, only the witch who cast them can use her magic.
Yeah,
Thanks for the lesson.
yeah. Oh, she's draining everything. She's draining everything. She's taking everything back. She's getting a cape, a costume! Oh my god. Oh, she looks so good. She looks so good. The prophecy's coming true.
You don't know what you've done.
Oh my god, look at that suit!
You're gonna need me.
If I do, I know where to find you.
Wait.
That's our Wanda, that's our girl. Oh, she's the nosy neighbor again.
That's some kind of getup you're wearing.
It really is.
Did I leave the oven?
I love
on,
her
or
hair
is that
change
just
too.
you, hot stuff.
Wow, and she's already hitting on Wanda. Already hitting on. I mean, we can't blame her. We can't blame her. Yeah.
Okie dokie, artichoke.
The new Agnes has a thing for Wanda. Yeah. Or is it just Catherine Hahn? Maybe it's a bit of both. Maybe it's a bit of both. The hex is minimizing. Yeah, all you clowns can go back to your day jobs now. Yeah.
Thanks for choosing me to be your mom.
Well, hey, they've been great. Those two kids have been great while they've lasted. They've been great. But nothing lasts forever. Well, they're both gonna stand in the window as he disappears. Is his hand gonna phase out of hers or something? Is this gonna be super duper emotional? Is this gonna be the really emotional goodbye?
You are my sadness. And my hope.
She finally accepts it. She finally accepts it.
But mostly you're my love.
Series finale hitting it everywhere. Hitting it everywhere in the feels.
We have said goodbye before, so it stands to reason.
We'll say hello again.
No. Oh my god.
So long, darling.
Darling.
And you don't. You don't hate me.
Given the chance and given your power, I'd bring my mom back.
She knows. She gets
No,
it.
I would.
So long, Westview. Is that the end? There must be a post-credit, right? I'm definitely anticipating. There's definitely a post-credit. There's definitely a post-credit. Oh. As series finales go, this was explosive, emotional, and just all around just insane to actually have to handle. This was insane. And I've been using that word so much, I feel like it's almost lost its meaning, but I mean, there are likely better words out there to use, but they're just not in my vocabulary as of yet. But yeah, god freaking damn, I'm gonna need a minute or two before I actually start my review to actually be able to process everything. But yeah, damn. So I don't know if the post-credit might actually connect into Doctor Strange 2, or if we might just have to wait to the movie to see how she connects into it, but boy oh boy, it's gonna be incredible.
We can thank her for that.
Ah yeah, Hayward. Yeah. Let's hope
Captain
he
Rambo.
stays down for a good while.
They're asking for you in the theater. I was sent by an old friend of your mother's.
Carol? Oh, she's there, the scroll!
Heard you've been grounded.
The scroll! Taylor's wife!
With you.
The scrolls! What? The scrolls want to meet Monica? Talos wants to meet Monica? Is she gonna get to see Carol again? What? Oh, there's another one. There's another. Oh, that was the mid-credit scene. Maybe this was the post-credit scene. Okay. Well, yeah. Good old pajamas and sweats. Yeah, that's an ideal getup. Oh. Damn. Oh, that's the Darkhold. That must be the Darkhold. She's learning from the Darkhold. Okay, now that's the end. That's the official end. Okay, I did not see that post-credits one coming, so the other one must have been the mid-credit scene then. Okay, now that's the end. That's the official end. Okay, so yeah, there's undoubtedly a lot to talk about. There's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to unpack. There is so much to unpack in that series finale, and there's so much. So much to do. I think one thing I want to get out of the way, though, the first thing, the Ralph thing, Ralph Boner. So I mean, when she found the credit card statement that was actually like written to Ralph, I thought, oh, like, because Agnes kept on going about, her husband Ralph. So I thought, oh, maybe that's like, maybe that was Ralph's house. Maybe she got rid of him, so she never had to actually show him off to people, but then still kept the house and lived in it. So maybe that was that. But no, it turns out that fake Pietro is literally just another face in Westview that Agatha. So like, it's not that she even actually snatched him from another universe like we would have thought, him being Fox's Quicksilver and all. It's literally just that, he is literally just another face in Westview, in Westview, and Agatha controlled him the same way that Wanda was controlling everyone else in Westview, and gave him, the power of that coincidence is too much for anyone to kind of behold, I think. Because again, I think Marvel knew what they were doing. Marvel had knew exactly what they were doing, because they knew we would recognize him instantly as Fox's Quicksilver. Because we would be expecting Aaron Taylor Johnson, the MCU's one, but then they show us Fox's one. It's like, oh great, is the multiverse happening? And it's like, nah, we're just gonna troll you even harder, and we're just gonna, introduce him as like another innocent civilian inside of Westview that was being controlled by Agatha instead. So yeah, because that then raises the question that if he was another face inside Westview, should he not have then been already controlled by Wanda? Like should he not have already been under her control, given like a new identity by her instead? But then maybe Agatha, maybe he had been, but we just hadn't met him until then, and then Agatha found him and then actually, decided to convert him instead and turn him into Pietro to try and lure her out. So yeah, I think that just seems more like Marvel trolling than anything else. It doesn't feel like a particularly good kind of switch through. It just feels like, Marvel being like, huh, made you think. But it feels like more like they're actually intentionally trolling us with Pietro's identity more than anything else. So yeah, I don't know. It doesn't feel the greatest, but it doesn't feel like the greatest and most hilarious of twists. But it's just like, oh gosh darn you, Marvel, you had us believing it was Pietro all along. But no, that's just no. But yeah, no. In terms of in terms of the story, this episode was crazy. So this really was the culmination of everything. Like this really was the culmination, and Agatha wasn't really holding back. She made Wanda have to choose between their own power, between her own powers of the Hex, and also opening it up and not letting it, and actually being able to actually beat Wanda, to beat Agnes even. So yeah, so I think the choice she gave her was to actually release the take down the Hex and release the people, because I think that those scenes as well of all the Westview residents, at least the ones we knew of, at least those faces we recognized, actually turning against Wanda and actually admitting that that she was poisoning her with her grief. Because I think Monica's description after she came out of the Hex was, you have your own grief, but then she holds you down with hers, and she makes you imagine a happier life and a happier kind of happier fantasy that could be a reality. So you still have your own grief, but then you feel her grief when her power is in you, but then that's actually held down by her more powerful intentions, and then you forget about anything else. So, but then in this instance, Wanda is faced with the actual emotional consequences of her own power inside other people, and she's being told that it's not actually working the way she thinks it is. It's just people feel even more trapped because they're losing people on the outside and they can't contact anyone on the outside and stuff like that. So yeah, it's just that scene was emotional as all hell. So then she had the option to actually take down the Hex instead. And yeah, I think one thing I didn't see coming was actually, Vision. I think Vision maybe made sense to me after I thought about it for a while, because he was the first one. He was actually the original creation inside the house. I think in the last episode, the way that scene went, she created the house, and then without her knowing, the Hex was actually being enlarged, and it was actually spreading all over Westview, all over the town. But then in the middle of that, while that was happening, from her perspective, she was creating Vision too. So I think at the same time the magic was expanding the Hex, Vision, her powers were manifesting Vision. So I think because of those two things happening at once, it was kind of connected. So taking down the Hex meant taking down Vision. So Vision's one made sense, and also because we saw him in a previous episode trying to escape the Hex, and the Hex wouldn't let him go because he was never created or designed to actually exist outside of the Hex. So if he left that kind of field of reality, then he would slowly start to break apart, as we saw. So that one made sense. So this one made sense. But then Billy and Tommy, that one kind of confused me. I was like, wait, is she actually really about to lose Billy and Tommy? Because I think, because then that was also her creation. But I didn't think that would be actually. I think maybe it's more like a proximity thing, or like a more of like a physical thing. Like anything created within the hex after the hex itself is created, it's powered by the hex, it's manifested by the hex. Like anything within the hex is, also that much more connected to whatever manifestations are made. So her kids were created within that kind of power kind of threshold. So if the hex breaks down, if that power breaks down, like the hex was keeping everything on the inside running, and we saw just how weak it was when Wanda was having her kind of her Monday crisis in a couple of episodes back. So if the hex itself breaks down, then it kind of powers down everything within it. So then Billy and Tommy, that one surprised me. So then her kind of conundrum became even more apparent when it was like, take down the hex and release the people, or save your family. So then that kind of gives Wanda even less power to achieve what she really wants. So yeah, but because then that would mean that and especially Agnes' line being heroes don't torture people. Wanda, like Wanda again, like she does not want to be a villain. She wants what she wants, but again, I think especially after coming face to face with all those neighbors, she wants to be able to actually not be treated like the villain. She doesn't want them to vilify her. She doesn't want to be seen as that kind of person. So then she actually willingly lets them go, but then she realizes the price she has to pay in order to do that. So yeah, it's just And yeah, Agnes, the very beginning, Agnes mentioned Wanda's prophecy and her kind of like the prophecy of her mantle. So I don't know if the Scarlet Witch itself is a mantle, or if it's or if it's a destiny created for Wanda. Because Wanda, again, like we've seen in the last episode, that Wanda already had latent abilities that were then amplified by the Mind Stone. So I don't know if the Scarlet Witch is actually, or I think maybe it might be like a mantle, it's clearly a being that's been prophesied by witches of old and by the Dark Code, which I'll get to in a minute. But it's clearly like a being that's been prophesied. But then I don't know if there are witches in history who have tried to maybe really ambitious ones. Because I think it's also like it's not a mantle anyone's really kind of encouraged to strive for, because they do talk about it's a being of disaster and spontaneous creation, and then like a myth of like a being of destruction, something like something so powerful that it can destroy anything it comes across. So I think it's logically not like something that witches are like encouraged to strive for, but at the same time it's like one day the Scarlet Witch will come and then we'll be in trouble. Like it's that kind of thing. So I think by that logic, I think it's actually Wanda herself is destined to be the Scarlet Witch, but then so yes, and that then might work. So the Scarlet Witch in itself is a chapter in the Darkhold. So now, having started watching season 4 of Agents of Shield, I'm aware of the Darkhold. Like I know it's a book. And I'm like 3 episodes in as of recording this particular reaction. So it's a book, and there were people who got turned into ghosts because of it, because one regular human like messed around with the Darkhold, and then people got turned into ghosts because of this. So the Darkhold, I've yet to actually see what it actually is. But I mean, they showed it in this, so it is like an actual magical book. So I think, they still showed a book inside Agnes' kind of basement. They showed a book in that, and I think I've been told that people thought that could be the Darkhold, but I don't know if this was that same book or if this was something different. But yeah, I don't know, but the Darkhold, I think it's like maybe like one of the more evil magics, or maybe a book containing information on really, really dark magic, really, really like forbidden magic. So like something that even Agnes wasn't up to, because I think Agnes already got into trouble with her own coven for doing what she did. So I don't know if that meant that she actually got her hands on the Darkhold, because I think if that was the same book in her basement, then that would mean that she actually got her hands on it, and then that's what got her caught out. But if not, then it might mean that she got close to the Darkhold, and then that's what the other witches actually sensed, and then they tried to put an end to it while they still could. But either way, Agnes had the Darkhold, and Wanda took it back. So so the Scarlet Witch is a chapter in the Darkhold. She's a chapter, and if you needed any further kind of if you needed any further confirmation or clarification that the Scarlet Witch is one of the most powerful Avengers there is, she is prophesied to be stronger than the Sorcerer Supreme. So the Sorcerer Supreme is a mantle. The Sorcerer Supreme is a mantle that someone can fill right now with Doctor Strange. But even in Doctor Strange's first movie, we saw that it was actually the Ancient One. The Ancient One was the Sorcerer Supreme. So like the Sorcerer Supreme is the one who kind of commandeers all kinds of magic, all kinds of magic across the globe, and kind of unites all the different sanctums in the different cities, and they kind of watch over the time stone, especially. It's like the sort of like the Sorcerer Supreme's oath to protect the time stone from any evil forces and stuff. So the Sorcerer Supreme is more of a mantle than the Scarlet Witch is, I believe. So Doctor Strange is the current one. So I mean, so we don't know for sure if Doctor Strange himself has actually achieved all the kind of power feats that the Sorcerer Supreme has, or if he's actually still on his way there. Because I think it was after the Ancient One died that then he was then elected to be the next Sorcerer Supreme and to actually take hold, and because he helped defeat Dormammu and Caecilius and all those kinds of people, so they rightfully elected him to be the new Sorcerer Supreme, and he took on that mantle. And we've seen since then, especially like in Infinity War Endgame, he has got loads of power, and especially in Infinity War, his fight against Thanos, like he has power now. He knows plenty of tricks. But then I think whether he is the Sorcerer Supreme, I don't know if I mean he calls himself that, but I think power wise, whether or not he is the Sorcerer Supreme, if there is like a power threshold that needs to be achieved, then I personally don't know if he's actually achieved that kind of level yet. But then Wanda is, like the Scarlet Witch is, prophesied to be stronger than the Sorcerer Supreme. So, if we have a fight between Wanda and Stephen Strange, then we know who's gonna win. And especially because Wanda is now studying from the Darkhold. We saw that post-credit scene. She's studying from the Darkhold. So the Darkhold and stronger than the Sorcerer Supreme. So that is our lore. That is our MCU lore on the Scarlet Witch. So pretty fun stuff. And we had fights. We definitely had fights in this episode. So I think, understandably, we had Vision versus Vision. Vision versus Vision was a very good fight. Vision versus Vision, honestly, once the tone of that fight changed, it took a very, very, kind of expectable and understandable turn. Like they go from fighting and flying and shooting lasers at each other to literally actually having, an intellectual conversation about Theseus and boats and wood and shit. I didn't catch all of it, but I think the point he was trying to make, the point, at least I think he was trying to make, was that, neither of them are really the originals, but they can still kind of be good visions, and they can still be the right visions, and he even actually touched the other visions, kind of computerized Mind Stone to actually give him the memories of the original vision, to show him what he'd been through, like Age of Ultron, Civil War, Infinity War, his death and everything else. So he actually, I think, he kind of neutralized him in a mental sense. He actually took away that kind of more volatile and more hostile kind of mentality that Hayward gave him. But at the same time, it's we don't know if that's actually if that's still our vision. We don't know for sure if that's actually the vision that we know and recognize it, or if it's gonna be something like Bucky from if it's gonna be something like Bucky's arc after Winter Soldier. Because I think in the Winter Soldier post-credit scene we saw Bucky was actually at the Smithsonian looking up his past life and looking up who he was before Hydra captured him. So I don't know if it's going to be something similar to that. Like this Vision is going to need some time to himself to actually rediscover who he was before he was killed and torn apart and everything, and then he's actually going to try and rediscover himself, and then maybe that Vision, he's still going to be White Vision. He might still be White Vision. I think that's probably going to be up to him, but I think at the same time it's he's going to try and spend some time by himself before he actually comes up against Wanda again. So that should be interesting. But and I think that also ties into Paul Bettany's cameo. Paul Bettany said that there was actually Paul Bettany made a statement that about actually be really looking forward to working with an actor that he had never worked with before, and then people on social media flew away with that to the farthest reaches of space, being like, oh my god, we're gonna get Patrick Stewart, oh my god, we're gonna get Michael Fassbender, oh my god, we're gonna get Doctor Strange, or we're gonna get Mephisto, or we're gonna get someone else, all these different characters people theorized. And looking at them, honestly, I was like, it would be cool if this happened. But then in the end, I was like, even if this was the case, even if he was actually referring to working with one of those actors, that is not information that Marvel would willy-nilly let him run away with, or say, out in an interview or something. That is the kind of thing that Marvel would want to keep under wraps. So knowing Paul, he's likely unknowingly trolling the fandom, but also actually referring to something else completely. And in the end, he was even asked about that statement that he made, and then he said, "Oh, those are really good theories, but they're going to be really disappointing when they find out that I'm just talking about myself." He was literally talking about working with himself, but playing another version of Vision. So And I think that serves as a lesson more than anything else to never theorize too hard. Because if you theorize too hard, on the one hand, you can end up spoiling yourself. On the other hand, when it doesn't come true, you're going to be pissed off, and then you might end up accidentally taken out on the show. Because I think the show, like this show from the beginning, has only ever set out to, like in certainty, it's only ever set out to actually explore Wanda and Vision's characters. It's been stated to be connected to Doctor Strange, but they've never said that they're introducing, Magneto or Doctor Strange or Mephisto. Like they've never said that. They just kind of let people theorize and see what's happening, and then kind of reveal the answers with each episode every week. So it's like theorizing and like fan theories and speculation and stuff like that. It's a very tricky line to walk between fan theories and then kind of fan demands afterwards too. Some fans end up just demanding that they were right all along, and then they demand that Marvel change the stories and that they actually just introduce all these other characters anyway down the line. So yeah, top lesson: don't run away with fan. I mean, it's okay to fan theorize, but on the one hand, don't run away with them too much, because then you're all the more likely to just end up disappointing yourself. And also, don't end up blaming the story or the writers or the end product for whatever doesn't come true, because in the end, the writers are responsible, and the writers are completely free to come up with a story that they believe fits into the timeline and into the entire MCU the way that they see fit. As fans, we are here to consume and enjoy the content and actually speculate on what comes next, but that's pretty much it. We have no power over the show, or like less power than we actually think, at least. So that is the top lesson there. But I think what I love even more is the fact that they addressed that with Paul Bettany, and he was just like, "Oh yeah, guys, I was just talking about myself. I don't know what you guys are expecting. I don't know why people are referencing all these cameos and all these characters. Like, I just really want to work with myself and see how I do playing like another more hostile version of Vision." So that's pretty much it. Yeah. But in the end, the White Vision did say, "I am Vision," after retrieving his older memories. So I think that is a sign that he did become like the old Vision, but he's also still a new Vision. So I think that is also, I think if they go down that path, I think that's an interesting character arc to explore. Like Vision, the real Vision, is still out there. He was killed by Thanos and then torn apart by Sword, and then put back together again, and then afterwards he was given like a mission directive to neutralize both Vision and Wanda. So now after that, like the fake Vision that Wanda created was able to use his own power, use his own memories to implant them into the new Vision, and then give him his old memory back. So I think that will, him being like an android, it will be a very, very different experience. But I think they might just put him through. I can definitely see them putting him through a similar enough kind of self-discovery arc that Bucky went through after being released from Hydra's grip, and still kind of I think it will be less, because I think with the computer, I think he was reprogrammed. So I think him being brainwashed might not be the right phrase to use. He was killed and then put back together and reprogrammed with a different directive. So brainwashed might not be the right turn of phrase to use there. But at the same time, it's like he might I think it's gonna be similar to him, like he finally has those memories back, but then I think we even saw what the fake Vision was like the fake Vision literally had no memories of any life behind Westview, any life before Westview, because he was created when the Hex was created. So he wasn't really born from anything other than Wanda's powers. He was not real. He was not like he was not actual circuitry. Like he could be torn apart, and then there'd be he could phase out when he phased out once the Hex actually fell down, and there was nothing left because he was just Wanda's kind of imagination. So that's different there. But then the real Vision, he actually will have some kind of actual kind of solid experience of actually being like a living being and having gone through all this stuff. So I think if they decide to explore that down the road, then I feel like they have to anyway, because now they've done like the White Vision that he created has actually flown off with these new memories, and now he's gonna go discover his own thing. So at some point down the line, him and Wanda will have to reunite. So yeah, and then I think the one I kind of saw coming, at least the one I hoped they would do, was literally Vision versus Vision. That one would make sense, and then obviously Wanda and Agatha. Wanda would want to protect her kids from Agatha, but then who would the boys end up fighting? Because then you realize the boys are left with no one to fight. But then Sword comes on. It's like, are we really gonna have Billy and Tommy facing off against trained military people? Are we gonna have Billy and Tommy versus Sword Agents? And that did happen. Billy used his magic to do some stuff, and then I think wait, Billy or Tommy? I think Tommy might be the one with the powers, and that they both have powers. No, Tommy might be the one with the magic, and then Billy is the one. I don't know, but I'm not good with twins. The names always get mixed up. I'm not good with twins, but one of them, I think it might have been Tommy who actually did the powers, and then Billy who actually ran around stealing their guns and their hats and everything. So they did that. But then that was funny. But then what pissed me off, what actually took the kind of undeniable cheesecake, was literally Hayward walking out of the van, and he point blank shot. I mean, powers or not, like, regardless of whether they had any powers, he point blank shot at the twins. He literally unloaded like a gun full of it. He unloaded the magazine. He kept on shooting, even when Monica was in front of him. He kept on shooting until that magazine was empty. Hayward does not deserve freedom. He does not deserve the freedom to walk around or to do anything like that. He point blank unloaded bullets on two 10-year-old kids, and then on the woman who jumped in front of them. I mean, Monica coming in, jumping in front of those bullets, and then the bullets phasing through her. That was, I think that was like more of a hint to her kind of powers as Spectrum. So she can turn herself into a spectrum of light too, because I think she kind of went like transparent there for a bit, and then you could actually see the bullets kind of passing through her as they hit, and then Billy actually caught them behind her too. So that was cool. But yeah, Billy and Tommy versus Sword was momentarily funny, and then it turned into something like a lot more concerning, with Hayward being willing to shoot two kids and everything. So that was that. So yeah, I think everyone had their fair share of fight. Everyone had their fair share of fight with Vision versus Vision, and then Wanda versus Agatha, and then the kids versus Sword, and even Billy and Monica's go back and forth, like, hey, I like your powers. Hey, you're the cool too. Like that connection between them. That was fun to see. So yeah, Billy and Tommy versus Sword. It was cool. It was cool. And then yeah, the final battle between Wanda and Agatha really unleashed a lot. So Agatha being Agatha, she like, that is kind of one of her trademark powers. She kind of drains the power and life out of other witches and other magic wielders. So she kind of knowingly managed, like, every hex blast that Wanda unleashed, like, so some of them missed her completely and just went on to destroying the hex, but then others actually managed to impact Agatha, and then she just instead just drained that power, and then afterwards, once Wanda was too weak to do anything else, she just freely drained her power and did what was left. So yeah, but then the other turn of the tables came when Wanda revealed actually having cast runes on her own hex. So she's a learner. She's a learner. She actually picked up on Agatha revealing that once a rune is cast, only the witch who casts the runes can actually cast spells within those runes, within that kind of perimeter. So the runes. That was also like a big like a glow stick moment, like the glow stick scene from Big Bang Theory when Sheldon has like a miniature glow stick, and then Leonard pulls out like a lightsaber and everything. Like that kind of thing. And yeah, I think it was even in Star Wars, like Rey pulling out a lightsaber and then Poe pulling out like a flashlight and pretending it had any kind of comparison. So it's like that kind of comparison where it's like for like Agatha, they're in her basement and she has miniature runes on like the different pillars, but then Wanda takes her up to her playground, onto the hex, and the giant runes on each of the different walls of the hex and everything. So that kind of worked. So those runes prevented Agatha from using Wanda's magic against her, and then it also allowed Wanda to heal herself up and then to take her magic back and actually become the Scarlet Witch. That transformation is one of the best things I've ever seen in this entire cinematic universe. It's easily one of the best things. Wanda taking her power back and crafting her new costume. Her new costume looks so good. It's like it's proof that if you wait long enough through all the movies where Marvel didn't have the rights to the character or her proper costume, if you wait long enough, good things come to those who wait. Good things come to those who wait. What is Wanda's new costume if not patience, persevering? Like, Wanda's new costume is a gift to us because of our patience. We waited until Marvel fought hard and fast for the rights to Wanda and to all the X-Men stuff back. So after that, they actually have no limitations. They can freely break out the new costume and show us Wanda in her new Scarlet Witch glory. Like her suit, she has her crown and her suit, and like it's got stripes and everything, and then her hair got all done. Like even Monica and Vision and the boys were surprised to see her back again, like so powerful now after getting her new suit. So it was just chef's kiss. Just she looks amazing. She looks amazing. She looks so good, so good. And you know, even in here, Agatha being transformed into Agnes and into the nosy neighbor again. Even the new Agnes had the hots for Wanda. Even Agatha just started like endlessly flirting with Wanda after seeing her new getup and everything. So yeah, but Wanda is now officially the Scarlet Witch. So I think that was the point of this whole series. That was the kind of that was the point of this whole story. And I think that also kind of impacts the way people see this because I think after hearing from Kevin Feige himself that this series would connect into Doctor Strange 2, people I think too many people started focusing more on how this would relate to Doctor Strange 2 instead of focusing on the fact that, you know, this is connected to it, but by no means is it solely a build up. This story, as it works so well as it is a solo story for Wanda. It's a story about Wanda discovers her own power, how Wanda actually, you know, discovers her new identity, how Wanda actually reevaluates herself after discovering her past and after re-exploring her traumas and everything. Like, it's a story about Wanda Maximoff becoming the Scarlet Witch. It's not about Wanda meeting Doctor Strange. It's not about Doctor Strange opening up the multiverse. It's literally about Wanda becoming the Scarlet Witch. Like, that is the sole purpose of the story. The fact that this story connects into Doctor Strange 2 is a bonus. If anything, that's a bonus. But this story was always meant to be, and it works so well the way it does because of the fact that it's a Wanda Maximoff solo story, and it also features like Vision and her kids and Quicksilver too. So it works because of that, and I think this finale works to emphasize that too. Like, this is not about Doctor Strange's cameo or how Doctor Strange finds Wanda. This is about how Wanda finds herself. This story is about how Wanda finds herself, and she really does. She really does find herself. So it's beautiful. It's beautiful. So, I mean, under that logic, it goes without saying that I am undeniably and extensively and eternally excited for all the more Scarlet Witch content to come. You know, be it in Spider-Man or be it in Doctor Strange 2. I am all the more excited to see what they do with Scarlet Witch as a character, with what they do with Wanda Maximoff as a character, and how they further explore her powers. Because now, especially after that post-credit scene, she's studying the Darkhold. And that post-credit scene too. I think that kind of that seems pretty. That already seems kind of pretty evident of what her power levels are now. Because I think the real Scarlet was like the real Wanda was still in her costume we saw in the actual episode, and she was actually in her room levitating, studying the Darkhold. Like that view just screamed powerful witch energy. It just screamed powerful witch energy. Like she was literally still in her get up. She was levitating and studying the Darkhold, but then she was actually manifesting like another more kind of weekendy kind of version of herself, actually sitting out on the porch. And she found, like, instead of taking her for an entire time this time, she actually found herself like a cabin out near like a mountain, near like a lake, somewhere more serene, somewhere a little bit more isolated, where she could actually have some space and time to herself. So she created like another version of her in a jumper and sweatpants, and then, you know, just sipping tea or coffee or whatever out on the porch. So like, she manifested another version of herself doing more kind of, you know, human things, and then the real her was actually levitating in her own room studying the Darkhold. So that is already pretty evident, and I think it reminds me of I think there might have been a scene similar to that in Doctor Strange, where Doctor Strange, I vaguely remember, like, you know, he was actually, I don't know if he was doing chores, but I think once he learned astral projection, he actually, while he was asleep, he was astral projecting his mind out to the front of the bed, and he was sat studying his own spell books while he was asleep, so he could actually be that much more productive. So even when he's sleeping, he's still working. So it kind of reminds me of that. So with Wanda, you know, even when she's out actually getting some fresh air and sipping whatever, she's still doing something. She's actually, like, in reality, she's actually, you know, like, maybe that was her astral projection. Maybe, you know, I think the real Wanda would have been the one studying the Darkhold, and then maybe, or I think, could it be the other way around? Could it be that, you know, the real her was actually taking time to actually get some fresh air and to drink some tea or whatever, but then she was astral projecting her superhero form into her bedroom, and she was actually studying the Darkhold. I think it could be either way. It could be because I think in reality she might want like a little break, and she might want to take a breather. But then so her body maybe is actually outside. Her body is actually getting some fresh air and some sunlight and stuff, but then her mind is back in the house and back in her room, actually studying the Darkhold and exploring more of her powers. I think that one might make a bit more sense in terms of productivity, but it depends on what she prioritizes, like, study or, freedom or whatever. But yeah, I think she's studying the Dark. So the Darkhold being there, right? The Darkhold being there, I think that must mean that the AOS is canon, right? That must, because I think Agents of Shield, like whether or not the Marvel TV shows as a whole, like whether or not any of them are canon, I think to this day it's still like an ongoing discussion that fans have. To me, Agents of Shield seems canon, like pretty strongly canon, because it still happens within that same universe. They still reference the movies, like those obvious reasons. But then now the Darkhold was I think it was introduced in Agents of Shield. And I've yet to see what they do with it. But it was involved in Agents of Shield, so now, now the Darkhold being used actively by Wanda in WandaVision, which is undeniably a Marvel studio, like an MCU product, like that pretty much canonizes Agents of Shield. I feel that pretty much canonizes. I can't imagine that even in the multiverse, I can't really imagine that there's actually more than one version of the Darkhold. I think the Darkhold being what it is, like a book of dark magic and a book kind of prophesizing dark magic wielders. I can't imagine that there's more than one copy of it. I think one copy is probably bad enough, but having more than one kind of makes it easier for dark forces to exist and dark forces to get their hands on that kind of knowledge and power. So yeah, I don't know, but either way, I'm pretty sure that makes Agents of Shield canon. I'm pretty sure. So I think anyone who hasn't watched Agents of Shield, you are missing out. You are missing out on some quality primetime TV show content. You are severely missing out. You're severely missing out. So yeah, go check out Agents of Shield. Go check it out. And yeah, I mean, I still loved Agatha. I think for me personally, I think it's undeniable that Agatha became somewhat more of a villain, like an antagonist in this one, actually hurting Wanda and actually wanting to take her power and threatening her and stuff like that. But I still loved how she was the villain, because I think when it comes to villains, right, there's always the question: do I love them, or like should I love them, or should I hate them? Like, there's always that question. I think some villains are like Haywood. There is no love. Haywood is the kind of guy you toss in a prison cell, then you bury him in said prison cell. You dig a new cell for him, and you bury him. And I mean, maybe that's a little harsh, but still, he's not the kind of guy you love. He is not the kind of guy you love. There is no love, no affection, no positive kind of energy directed towards him there. He is undeniably the kind of villain you hate. But then Agatha, she's evil and she makes it look good. She makes it, I mean, you don't support her killing Wanda, obviously not, but then there's still kind of something about her that just kind of makes you feel like, I mean, maybe not all villains are hate-worthy, maybe not all villains are bad, but I think that is what Agatha has done to the fandom. Agatha has actually made people be like, you know what, maybe not all villains are bad, maybe not all villains are really, maybe some villains are just misunderstood, or maybe she deserves the power she wants, maybe she deserves some kind of power and some kind of control over the situation, maybe that's just how she is, and then you come to Haywood and it's just like, shoot him dead, kill him beyond death, kill him in ways that he can't be resurrected from. But then you come to Agatha and it's like, so she's a little evil. Let a girl be evil. Let a girl be evil once. And then I think in this episode, like, I think you still see her doing all this antagonistic stuff, and then it's like, oh no, like, Agatha, don't hurt Wanda. But then that Wanda can stand her ground. Wanda can actually handle herself, and she can get her power back and everything. Because this is not the kind of series where Wanda is destined to die. She is destined to actually reach her own levels of magnificent power, and she's destined to actually explore that power further in Doctor Strange 2. So you're not too worried, but at the same time, it's like, it's proof that, villains like Agatha are worth rooting for. They're worth loving and stuff. So I love Catherine Hahn. I love her so much. She's just, she has taken the role of Agnes and Agatha, and she's run with it. And I think honestly, knowing how well she did as Doc Ock in Spider-Verse, like she was great in that. She was awesome in that. So I think her moving on to bigger things like the MCU and actually being a more prominent role in this. And she's definitely not dead. Like Wanda actually, told her, like, she will let her live, but instead she's gonna do what heroes who don't kill their villains usually do, and she's just gonna lock her up. And she's just gonna actually keep her. So I think the Hex, like the majority of the Westview Hex was taken down. The majority of it was taken down, but what little Hex power she needed, she still maybe kept. I think maybe she just kept Agatha locked up in her own basement, like her, like she maybe took out the runes and like minimized the Hex just to that basement and then kept her locked up inside there, or maybe. Yeah, like, because I think she still gave her identity back. She actually tapped her on the temple, and then her look changed, and she turned back into the Agnes we remember from the first few episodes and everything. So, you know, she turned into that, and then Agnes was immediately flirting with Wanda. I mean, you can't blame her. You can't blame Agnes, but she was immediately flirting with Wanda. Like, oh, is it hot in here, or did I forget to turn the oven off or something? Like her pickup lines are just classic kind of Catherine Hahn pickup lines. So that was quality content. But yeah, no. So she is Agnes the Nosy Neighbor once again. She's Agnes the Nosy Neighbor once again, and she. I don't know if that means we might actually get Agatha Harkness herself back, because I think Agatha is connected to Mephisto. I think at least in the comics, we don't know for sure if they're going to go down that route in the movies, in the MCU at least. I think they very much could do, but whether or not they do or when they do it is going to be kind of, you know, only time will tell. But I think in the comics at least, she is connected to Agatha. She is connected to Mephisto. She's connected to Mephisto. So I think for the future, I think, you know, keeping her alive means that she could also come back as like another kind of, you know, secondary antagonist for Wanda, but then she could also come back in a way that connects her to Mephisto. Maybe she helps to draw Mephisto into this universe and help him do his evil stuff. So keeping her alive definitely opens up, future possibilities and more opportunities to do stuff with her. And again, I would never say no to Catherine Hahn. I would never say no to more Catherine Hahn in the MCU. I don't know any sane person who would. But yeah, Catherine Hahn, she has been beyond amazing. And I think especially I think those kinds of actors Catherine Hahn, Randall Park, Kat Dennings, like these kinds of characters who you primarily recognize from their debut roles in acting, as you know, like people like Randall Park playing Asian Jim in The Office, and Kat Dennings being from Two Broke Girls, and Catherine Hahn being from I think I've heard that she was in Parks and Rec, and she was in something else. I remember her from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. She was Charles's crazy ex that kind of threw his kids down the sink disposal and everything. So, you know, she's been in dramatic kind of roles before, but I think seeing those kinds of actors go from something like that to something like this shows that they have range, they have potential to be more recognizable faces, and they have the potential to actually pull off, you know, more lovable and rootable kind of characters and stuff. So it's great. It's honestly so great. So I think, you know, Agatha, we could see her at some point, but then Randall Park, we'll see him in Ant-Man the Wasp 3, and then Kat Dennings, she'll be showing up in Thor: Love and Thunder as well. So it's great. It's like the way that this leads into other stuff is great, but then the way that we actually see these characters more fleshed out and become more prominent and actually get more screen time and attention that they deserve in this show, in like a Disney Plus series, it's honestly great planning and great promising execution, promising planning and great execution. So yes, more Catherine Hahn, please. More Catherine Hahn. And yeah, so the end. So then taking down the Hex means that everything within the Hex actually dies and withers away. So that unfortunately includes Vision and the boys, including I honestly don't know what was more emotional, Billy and Tommy or the boys. Because I think Vision, we've had him for a while, so seeing him dying again, it's emotional, but it's nothing we haven't seen before. But Billy and Tommy, we didn't even see them die. That's the thing. We saw the Hex getting closer through their window, and that was a sign that, you know, that Wanda and Vision were actually getting ready to say goodbye to them. That was it. We didn't see them actually being, you know, vanishing into thin air or whatever. But then Vision, I think Vision's one, because we'd seen him die before. I think, you know, seeing him actually die again was something we could handle. But I think the writers knew, okay, watching 2 10-year-old kids die and disappear is not something that the audience actually feels ready for after everything they've been through. So yeah, so that one, I think the dialogue in that scene was outmatched too. I think Wanda and Vision making sure that Billy and Tommy knew that they were loved and that their memories were cherished and that they were important and good while they lasted. And I think, I think Wanda's line was what broke me. Wanda's line actually took me out for like a good few minutes until the WandaVision came again. Wanda's line being like, thank you for choosing me to be your mom. Like, that line actually took me out. Like, that line, because I think, again, like, it's all Wanda ever wanted. Kids, a family, a home for her family. It's all Wanda ever wanted. So, like, being able to create Billy and Tommy, 2 kids who loved her and cherished her as their mother and actually fought to protect her too. They fought to protect her. And I think, and Billy and Tommy's perseverance too, like they see literal military dudes coming and they're like, okay, we got to protect our mom, we got to protect our parents while they take on more hostile, more powerful beings. So like they're just more than ready. Like that shot of them standing together in their fight stances just reminded me of like the Incredibles, just like Dash and Violet and Bob and Helen actually standing in the forest ready to take on any figures like that just had Incredibles written all over it. That had the Incredibles written all over it. A family of 4 with superpowers and everything, just awesome stuff. But yeah, Billy and Tommy loved their mother. They loved their mother. They cherished her until their dying breaths. And yeah, it's a good thing we didn't see them die, because I think that would have broken us all. That seeing actually having to see Billy and Tommy disappearing after the Hex takes them away would have been more heartbreaking. But yeah, that line from Wanda kind of summarized it all. Like her actually thanking them for staying with her. Like even though they were creations of her power, they still kind of stuck around. They still somewhat had mentalities of their own. That like their mentality was literally them being their mother's sons. They felt that instinctive need to protect Wanda and to actually take on any threats that Wanda and Vision were too busy to handle, and to actually maintain like her sense. Like even like a couple of episodes back, like with the Modern Family sitcom thing, like like Agnes offering to take the boys away and to let Wanda have a day to herself. Like even then, the kids were like, "Mom, are you sure you're okay? Like we can stay here with you if you need to." Like their insistence that they want their mother to be okay and to be okay, just to be well again. Like like that shows that Billy and Tommy like they had some sense of sentience. They had some sense of actual self-awareness about who their mother was and what she needed. So saying goodbye to Billy and Tommy was not the easiest thing in the world. But yeah, and I think also like when Wanda was studying the Darkhold, when she was studying the Darkhold, we saw that. Well, I mean, we heard Billy and Tommy's voices. We heard Billy and Tommy screaming "Mom" like from somewhere. Like I think I'm wondering if that could be relative to the multiverse. I'm wondering if that could be relative to her kind of exploring the multiverse, like in exploring her power, she explores whether or not because I think she's already done a thing where she can create like an alternate reality, but then actually exploring reality, like opening up doorways to realities that already exist, like to other realities. That is something else that for all we know, Wanda could very, very well be powerful enough for that. Like, I think if she can create her own reality, then it's not really much of a question as to whether or not she can actually open a gateway to another pre-existing reality as well. So maybe instead of creating her own kids, maybe she finds Billy and Tommy in like another universe, or maybe she actually finds them kind of somewhere within. Because then I don't know. Because then. I was gonna say maybe if the Hex didn't actually take them away, but maybe it just kind of scattered them somewhere across the multiverse, so they're still somewhere out there. Maybe the Darkhold and studying her powers more and studying the multiverse a bit more will actually help her find them all. Because if she finds Billy and Tommy in like another universe, then that raises the question of what that Billy and Tommy's history is. Like if they already have a Scarlet Witch mother of their own, or if they already have like a life and parents of their own. So I don't know, but then Billy and Tommy actually screaming "Mom," like screaming for Wanda, then kind of shows that maybe they're still somewhere out there, and maybe she can still find them. So I don't know. That's a bit of a question. And then yeah, the more lengthy and durational kind of goodbye comes between Wanda and Vision, and I think understandably so, because again, we can handle seeing. I think it's a lot more I think we can arguably handle seeing Vision die more than we can see the kids, like, because the kids, we've only had them for this series, so actually having to watch them disappear would be too much for Wanda and Vision to bear, let alone for the audience to bear. But then Vision, actually seeing him die, I think there's more of like an actual lengthy goodbye between him and Wanda having like an actual conversation, like Vision being like, what am I? And then I think this conversation of who he is and what she sees him as is a lot more thoughtful and a lot more explorative than the one we got in the episode where we got the Quicksilver cameo, like her saying you're my husband, you're my everything, all that stuff. But with this, it's like her actually saying who she sees him as and what he's meant to be and everything. So that was a lot more kind of heartwarming to see. And that final goodbye too, I mean when they walked up to the window, as soon as the Hex was approaching, I literally thought they'd be holding hands, and then all of a sudden she just wouldn't feel his hands in hers anymore, and he would just phase out of existence. But no, she actually got to hold his face in her hands for a little bit longer, and actually and the camera did like a nice 360 as bits and pieces of him actually started to disappear and unravel. So it was a much nicer, less kind of gut-wrenching version of the of the scenes we've had of watching him being destroyed before. So this is the version. I think ultimately, this is the version of Vision that Wanda has actually managed to be able to say goodbye to. This is the one that she knows she has control over getting rid of, and actually this is the one she has control over losing. And so as a result of that, she's able to actually. I think because I was wondering in the middle of it, I was wondering the Hex sure is taking a long time from to get to the house. But then I thought, Wanda is the one taking down the Hex. If she can slow down, taking down the Hex just a little bit just to say goodbye to Vision. But then that raises the question of, why could she not slow it down when she was saying goodbye to the kids? But either way, plot, timing, it's all a thing. It's all a thing. So with this one, her saying goodbye to Vision is I mean, she wanted to be able to say goodbye to Vision from the get-go, but then Hayward denied her that. Hayward denied her that under, like sword kind of ownership of Vision's body and him being a dick and stuff. So she couldn't get there. So with this one, I think if she had stuck around with the kids any longer, then she would have actually found it harder to actually say goodbye to them and then to actually move on from them. But with Vision, she can slow the Hex down just a little bit, just to actually say goodbye to Vision, to say what she needs to say, and to actually hear Vision say what he needs to hear. So that goodbye was, it was something. It was definitely something. So I think that's also us as an audience saying goodbye to the Vision that Wanda wanted, the Vision that Wanda created to actually kind of be the one that she remembered, to actually be the one that fell in love with her in the first place. So it was emotional. It was emotional in that sense. But I think we have some sense of solace in the knowledge that the real Vision, the White Vision, is still out there. He's still out there with like old memories now returned to his head, like now remembering who he was before. So it's likely only a matter of time until we see him. But yeah, I think in terms of the emotional scenes in this show and the drama in this, I think it's undeniable that everyone involved deserves like an award or like deserves some kind of recognition, because I think a lot of work went into making the drama and the actual emotional value of this show work, and into actually exploring who Wanda is as a person and what her history is like. So it deserves a lot of recognition. It deserves a lot of recognition, and I hope that it actually gets it beyond people praising it on Twitter. But yeah, it's amazing stuff. It's amazing stuff. And yeah, the mid-credit scene. So Monica was taken into the Westview Theatre by a woman who later revealed herself. I can't remember exactly what her name was. I'm gonna look that up because I feel bad calling her Talos' wife, because she is more than that. Talos' wife, Soren. So that's the actress Sharon Blaine. I don't know if they actually brought I think they might have brought the actress back for it, but Soren is her name. So she was the Skrull who came by, and that was surprising. That was surprising as well. And she came down. I think she said, in her human form, she said that she was sent by someone who was an old friend of her mother's, and that would be I was wondering like who, like an old friend of her mother's, and I think for verbal clarity's sake, I was wondering like was she sent by Carol? Was Carol aware of what was happening down here, and she sent Soren down here to kind of to talk to Monica or something, but then she turned into a Skrull, and I was like, an old friend of her mother's. Oh, that would be Talos, and that would be the Skrull. So then the Skrulls are still up there doing their thing and probably maintaining sword with Nick Fury, because we haven't seen him since like Infinity War. So then she said that like the old friend is up there, the old friend is up in space, and he said, oh, he heard you're grounded. So now with Hayward down and under with his power taken away and him being arrested, she's no longer grounded. She can kind of override those protocols herself. Like it's likely, but yeah, no. So she can now go back up into space, and that's gonna be awesome. I think if she can meet Carol, I think maybe this ties into Captain Marvel too. Maybe because I like to believe that each of the other kind of like supporting characters' roles kind of ties into their next cinematic kind of appearances too. So Darcy's one in here maybe ties into like maybe once she leaves Westview, she goes to wherever Thor 4 is happening. Jimmy Woo kind of sorts out what's happening in Westview, and then he goes back to the FBI, and then he joins the cast of Ant-Man and the Wasp 3 when that starts filming. And then maybe this one Monica having helped handle the stuff happening in Westview, maybe then now with her having been kind of collected by Soren, she now goes back up into space and meets up with the Skrulls and meets up with Carol again. So that's going to be a fun reunion to see. But that is an awesome connection for them to be able to make in the mid-credit scene. So yeah, that is pretty awesome. So I think now, her having powers now, that might mean that she actually has a lot more that she can do in space, like her being able to like view and use like different kind of energy wavelengths and everything. She can actually use her powers in that sense, and she can. I mean, now that she has powers, I just remembered. I just remembered that line Nick Fury said in Captain Marvel 1, like young Monica being like, maybe one day I can come up and meet you in space, and then I think Fury was the one who said, oh, maybe if you learn to fly one day like your Auntie Carol. So now maybe she can fly. Maybe she can actually fly. Maybe she actually has her own powers. Maybe, I mean, she has her own powers, that's for sure. But maybe those powers do somehow include fly. I don't know if we saw her flying in this, but maybe I mean Soren. If Soren is here, maybe she likely actually has her own kind of Skrull ship as well somewhere nearby, so she can actually take her and fly her up to Carol, and then Carol can meet grown up Monica Rambeau, and then she can actually see that she has powers too. So Carol Danvers and Monica Rambeau in Captain Marvel 2 will be unbeatable, and also Kamala Khan. We're gonna get Iman Vellani as Kamala Khan in that too, and I can't wait for Ms. Marvel because of that too. I can't wait to see how Ms. Marvel goes down. Oh Jesus, we're gonna get so much. We are gonna get so damn much, and it's only like WandaVision is the tip of the iceberg. We're gonna get so many more series, so many more connections, so many more movies. Like these upcoming phases, phase 4 is gonna be just phase 4 is just going to be out of the water. It's going to be fish out of the water. It's going to be amazing. But yeah, in terms of afterthoughts of the finale, that is pretty much all I can think about. I'm still thinking about everything that's gone down, and I can't. This is the thing that happens after I watch big episodes. My mind just struggles to process stuff, and then I can't immediately talk about everything in like too in depth. I mean, this is pretty much as in depth as I can go, but still, it's still hard to actually muster any coherent thoughts. Think about, but this series has been so good. WandaVision, right? WandaVision. I don't know if any of us could have actually anticipated how good this series would be, because I think even the way it was marketed, the way the trailers were, the way the trailers were edited, the way it was promoted, it was only ever seen, especially by audience members, as it's going to be this really trippy series. I mean, it's going to explore Wanda's powers, but Wanda's going to make this alternate reality maybe that kind of brings Vision back, and then she's going to struggle with that. Stuff like that, but I think the way it was promoted and marketed made it seem really kind of trippy and confusing, and it looked like a fun time in that sense. But all in all, having watched this series, it has been one of the best kind of blends of action and fantasy and drama and just mind-boggling, story that I've ever experienced. Because I think each episode has had something of its own to offer, and the way the progression has worked too, like going from that kind of hardcore parody of like a sitcom to slowly unraveling and slowly showing us that Wanda is making all of this happen, and Wanda is actually controlling all of this, and there are people on the outside looking in, and the people on the inside are just are losing their sanity and losing their heads to Wanda. Like watching all of this unravel has been one of the best one of the best kind of story progression states I've ever seen and experienced. And so because of that, I think its quality as a Disney Plus series too has been off the charts. Not just because of the weekly release format thing, but also because of the way that they've actually constructed the story, where it's the episode number is small, but it's small because they're only doing what they need to do. Like in terms of the story, they are only showing us what they need to show us. They're not going to show us like a filler episode of Wanda using magic to do her chores or anything like that. Like every story, every episode, every scene in this series has had some kind of purpose. It served some kind of purpose, whether it's to actually enact drama or emotion or conflict or whatever. It's always served this purpose. So because of that, this really worked, and it kind of beats the whole kind of the need. I think it beats the need for filler, but at the same time, it's like I'm still okay with certain shows using filler to do whatever they need to do. But I think for a show like WandaVision, they've shown that. I think they identified, fairly early on, that they didn't really need filler. They just needed the space to tell the story that they want to tell and to actually explore Wanda in the way that they want to explore her. And they delivered perfectly. They delivered on all the necessary fronts and more in telling that story, and I love them for it. I love what they've done with the show, and I think this being a one-off, it kind of works too, because I think it's I think it works as a one-off in the sense that it's one story to explore her, but I think the main intended after effect of the series was for it to connect to Doctor Strange 2. That was the main after effect intended for it. So they weren't really planning for there to be a season 2 afterwards. Season 2 is Doctor Strange 2. Season 2 is Doctor Strange 2. So that is where we see her next after this. So seeing her in this is kind of exploring more of who she is and and what she can do, whereas Doctor Strange 2 I think Doctor Strange 2 will definitely kind of, and I think she's also been slated to be the antagonist of Doctor Strange 2, so I think Doctor Strange 2 will actually go further to explore the after effects of her powers and the consequences of her powers, and especially the consequences of her newfound powers, like what she can do now that she has the Darkhold, what she can do now that she knows who she really is, what her powers are really like, and everything. So it's gonna be a crazy ride even afterwards. But yeah, Disney have really kind of outsold, like Marvel themselves have really outsold on this one, actually giving us Wanda in a Disney Plus series and giving her solo series and giving her this, and like, you know, like everyone involved, like Elizabeth Olsen, Paul Bettany, Catherine Hahn, Tiona Paris, like seeing Monica in this, and you know, like being introduced to like the present day Monica Rambeau has been such an amazing kind of thing to watch, and seeing her, like seeing all these characters kind of getting along with each other in some sense of the word has been really great too. So it's beyond incredible. It's beyond incredible. So yeah, this is the end of WandaVision. This is the end of WandaVision. So because of how well this story has delivered and performed on all the necessary fronts, and because of how Marvel and Disney have showed that they can definitely handle a story of this caliber with, you know, with the resources they have, I have nothing but, you know, reasonable expectations and high hopes. At the same time, I have reasonable expectations and high hopes for the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and for Loki, and for What If, and all the other series coming. Like, I mean, this year we're gonna get Loki, and I believe What If as well. I think later this year, but you know, closer to now, we're gonna get the Falcon and the Winter Soldier in. That's like March 19th, so that's like what, literally 2 weeks time. That's it, literally 2 weeks time. So I think that's honestly better. If we got it next week, then that wouldn't be that. I think that wouldn't be right, because I think we need at least a week or two to process what WandaVision has given us, what the story for WandaVision means for the future, and all the things that have happened in WandaVision. Like, we need a good enough time to be able to process that before jumping into something else that's likely going to be equally as emotionally charged and driven. So we need a break. We need an actual break. I mean, we want Falcon and Winter Soldier, but we also need a break. So I think 1 week gap, like next week we have nothing, and then the week after that we jump into Falcon and Winter Soldier. It's ideal. It's ideal. Marvel knows exactly how to space these things out and exactly how to give their fans time. So yeah, see you all in 2 weeks' time. I will definitely be reacting to the Falcon and Winter Soldier each and every episode. So make sure you guys are subscribed. Make sure you are all subscribed so that you can be told and notified when a Falcon and Winter Soldier reaction drops, and we can all enjoy that show together too. But yeah, I thoroughly look forward to that. I really look forward to that, and seeing the 2 trailers for that already, it looks like a really, really fun watch. I think that's like, honestly, that's what's been making me think, like, WandaVision is such a different show tonally and story wise and character wise. It's such a different show to the Falcon and Winter Soldier, but Marvel knows their story, and they know their characters well enough, and they honestly have their plan set out far enough to know exactly what to do and when to do it. So I think, you know, like, it's the kind of thought that's been on my mind since WandaVision started, that, you know, like, Marvel is the kind of studio, and Marvel is the kind of entertainment company that can actually kind of risk, like, for lack of a better word, like, they can kind of actually risk releasing something as trippy and as mind-boggling as WandaVision before doing Falcon and Winter Soldier. Because Falcon and Winter Soldier, that's like textbook action and drama and comic book stuff and stuff like that, and it's like the kind of typical Marvel action that we've come to expect from stuff like Captain America and Avengers. So with that one, it's like, that's like I feel like any other studio doing a project like this, they would have to kind of do something that fans would recognize instead of actually going for something as crazy as WandaVision. But Marvel knows what we're used to. They know what we want, so we want WandaVision as much as we want Falcon and Winter Soldier. So WandaVision is kind of like the perfect way to introduce us into this new phase and how crazy it's going to be. But Falcon and Winter Soldier, it's not going to be any less emotional, but it's definitely going to be something to kind of ease us down from the kind of, you know, the kind of sorcery and the trippiness from WandaVision. So it's going to be great. It's going to be so great, and I cannot wait long enough for it to happen. So 2 weeks time, Falcon and Winter Soldier. Let's go. Let's bring it. But yeah, that is it. That is literally every thought I can muster after my initial viewing of Marvel Studios' WandaVision. So yeah, that is all the thoughts I have. Any thoughts you guys have? Any theories you want to share? Any thoughts you have, like what you thought of this, what you thought of this show, what you thought of this series, what your thoughts are on this finale, what you liked, or even what you didn't like? You know, any opinions you have, feel free to share them. The comments are open. Have at it. But yeah, that is pretty much all I can have. So now I need to go take a break, and I need to wait a good hour at least until I can actually start to edit this down and hopefully get this out as soon as possible. But yeah, that is it. So that was Marvel's WandaVision Season 1, Episode 9, but that was Marvel's WandaVision as a whole too, as a whole series. That was Marvel's WandaVision. So thank you guys, as always, so much for being here and for watching this video. If you guys enjoyed it, then salt and bun a like button. Comment on what you thought of the episode and what you thought of this series as a whole, and what you're looking forward to seeing, and what your theories are for Doctor Strange 2 and for Wanda's future, and what you hope to see from Wanda's future. Once again, the full-length reaction for this episode will be over on Patreon, so you can go check that over there. And yeah, that is it. So I will see you guys next time.